This is the Apocalypse Survival Guide. We are here to help you survive the apocalypse. Which apocalypse, you ask? All of them, from A to Z. Each week we cover a different type of apocalypse and give you advice on how to survive. The rules are simple. We choose an apocalypse depicted in a movie and cover how you could survive that type of apocalypse. So stock up on supplies and get ready to survive. Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Frank.
And welcome to the bunker. In today's episode, our second episode, we are here on the letter B. And today we're here to discuss biological weapon, specifically the Crazies virus as seen in the movie The Crazies. And we'll be discussing the 2010 version, the remake of the original. I guess we'll start point like we do. We'll start with the disaster enemy strength. We'll start with the infected.
Yeah, you just told me two things that I already didn't previously know. Number one, I didn't know there was an original Crazies.
Yeah.
I'm all about originals.
George
so now
Romero.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that
It's
one.
a George Romero.
Really?
Yeah.
The Godfather.
Yes. You think about that, zombies, and then this is kind of a spin-off of zombies, a little different, but yeah.
But still. And
Yep.
I remember the virus, but I couldn't remember what it was called.
The Crazies virus.
Did you get a spelling on
I
it?
wrote it down. Trixie, I believe.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
I remember hearing it, but I didn't have subtitles on the version I was
think
watching.
I didn't either. I think that maybe I just wrote it down. That's what I would spell
we'll
it
call
as.
it Trixie, like the
But it was
prostitute.
called Yes.
that-
Yes.
Yeah, gave me the clap back in the 80s. But anyway,
Hey.
I
you know,
hate Trixie.
she's a bitch.
Kind of fitting with this particular infectious apocalypse.
It is an infectious disease.
That makes
Trixie,
perfect
yes.
sense that Trixie would be the source of this infectious apocalypse. I totally understand it now.
It makes a lot of sense. But at least with that one, maybe some penicillin and some cleaner living might get rid of that one. Where this one's not so. This one's not so forgiving.
No.
So strengths of the infected. I put it makes them psychotic. They act like crazed killers. They don't know that they're infected, which is kind of a weird thing. You know what I mean? Like they don't. And a strength I put, and you think about this, is they're your friends, your neighbors, your family members. And how I think that's a strength is you see a lot of these zombie movies or movies like this ilk, and you see most of the people, and they're just the big gray.
Yeah.
But in this case, in the movie, there's a small town that starts in Ogden Marsh, Iowa, and it's your neighbors, it's your friends, it's your family.
Yeah, that's kind of a two-pronged strength for them. Number one, they're camouflaged into the society around you. You're like, oh, here there's Bob,
Yeah.
and Bob's always been cool with me until you don't realize, oh, he's lost his mind. The second one is it makes them harder to kill them because it's more personal.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, we can sit here and say, oh, fuck zombies or whatever, I'm going to kill them. But if that's they're infected, so they're living. Yeah, they have a disease. Yeah, they want to kill you, but it's your spouse, your significant other, possibly your child, your best friend.
Yeah.
I mean, is this someone that you can easily just, well, you got it, man.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger. And
You
if
can
it
talk
is,
like a hard ass.
and if it is, you might want to seek some psychological counseling.
Yeah, right.
Because
Your bunker is going to be different than ours. Your bunker is going to include padded walls.
yes, and I think it's highlighted obviously in the point where the sheriff, who I'm going to call Raylan Givens, and if you don't know why I'm calling him Raylan Givens, watch a show called Justified, one of the greatest shows ever, and then you'll understand. But Raylan Givens and
No apocalyptic undertones, but just
a good
damn show.
a good damn show, and his deputy, but it also his buddy, the other cop, gets infected in the movie. Spoiler, and
There's lots of those.
and obviously it's those guys have probably, just assuming as police officers do, they go to a lot of hectic scenes together, like crime scenes. They're dealing with crime. They're stressful situations together, like the shooting at the beginning, where they're, oh my God, what's going on? And then one guy's helping with the crowd, where Raylan goes out and has to shoot the farmer with the shotgun. So I mean, this isn't someone that you could just be like, well, Dave was a good buddy, and remember that time he saved my life, and we're on that call together, and we were throwing down, and I got to put him down.
Yeah.
Again, you're
No
not
big
going to
deal.
just, no big deal.
No, it is a big deal. Just imagine. And another thing that's going to weigh on you mentally when you're in that situation is they are just infected.
Yes.
And I mean, it's known that it's I'm not sure if it's a virus or whatever it is. They're infected with something, which as humans, we know that biologically to be temporary in most cases, and a lot of times have a cure. So you're going to be thinking to yourself, well, shit, I mean, I might think I need to shoot him right now, but what if tomorrow they're administering the vaccine for this, and he could be all better. And I have to be the asshole that murdered him yesterday, and he could have been cured today. That's going to weigh in your mind as well.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't find out until near the end when they stop the black SUV, and we know the government always has black SUVs.
Exactly.
And they find out from the guy that either if you have it within 48 hours, you're dead or whatever, or you have it within 48 hours.
Yep.
And then you're going to die from it.
Right.
So, but you don't know that. It's just a virus. People are going crazy. You don't want to just run around shooting your friends and your neighbors. Well, maybe you do, but again, you might want to seek some psychological counseling.
Sometimes it might just be a good excuse. That jackass next door, I swear he was infected.
All I'm saying is a lot of people have exes.
Oh,
and they're like, oh, I knew that bitch. I knew that asshole was infected. She's infected. I gotta put him down.
I had to.
You just drove 20 miles across the county. Listen, I know they were infected. I've known it for years. That motherfucker needed
They were the first one. They were the first. She was the first one that was infected.
She was patient zero. I had to.
That brings up a good point too with the government aspect of this. I mean, what kind of concessions are there going to be after it all blows over, if it in fact were to blow over? What kind of concessions are there going to be for somebody who just killed 20 people in town, but they were doing it purely out of self-defense to save their own life and their wife and to get out of town? I mean, are they going to be held accountable for that in the end? Something would have to be legislated and written in for that specific situation.
I see what you're saying, but I don't think so, only because they really they covered it up. I mean, you think...
Yeah.
And...
True.
For all you conspiracy theorists out there, think about it. This is your wet dream. They rounded up people, and they killed them. They put the non-infected that they thought... Because remember, they broke them up into two groups. And the ones at the truck stop, we find out at the end of the movie, they gunned them down. They killed them all, and they burned the bodies. And then the ones that they thought were infected were at the high school, and they either all died or ran off when someone busted down the barricade and the soldiers took off.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then at the very end, they bombed the city.
Oh, man. Which
will get us into some other things later,
goes,
but
it goes
into some
back
other
to enemy strengths.
Yeah.
Because in this one, just as we discussed last time, a lot of these we're going to have more than one enemy actually to discuss. We're going to have the obvious one, and then maybe not the not so obvious enemy. And in this one, well, I guess in this one it's just as obvious. The other enemy, to the townspeople anyway, is the military.
Absolutely.
And if you want to talk about strength of the military, I think it's all pretty obvious and implied. The American military is pretty damn strong. But then they literally drop the bomb at the end, and to show, I mean, that's ultimate strength.
I mean, the military, when you talk about strengths, they have satellites, drones, they had aircraft, helicopters. They technically have tanks. We didn't use tanks in this movie, but we all know they have tanks.
Yeah.
Guns upon guns upon guns. Tactics.
Full military might.
I mean, they cut communications to the city. Remember, at one point, there's no internet, there's no phone. They cut cell phone reception. They were able to round up the people. They took everyone's guns. So, I mean, that's a big thing. So you're not just fighting the infected people. You're fighting the military who's trying to round you up and kill you. Obviously,
Yeah.
you don't know that until the very end, but they're trying to kill
But
everybody.
that's the ultimate. Yeah,
They're
goal
containing
is
it,
to contain it and kill.
and whether that's right or wrong, that they're containing it through killing everybody. Obviously, it seems wrong because you shouldn't kill everybody. But how deadly is this virus?
Right.
And that kind of brings up another thing. The virus was headed to an incinerator in Texas, is what they said.
What they say
in the movie. We'll assume that's true. Here's my concern for a biological weapon made by the military. They generally don't throw something out, so to speak, unless they got something better. So what do they, so again, conspiracy theory, what do they have that's like, fuck this Trixie shit, we got,
Yeah.
the Ajax virus, this thing is 20 times better.
Trixie's child's play. Trixie's a Shirley Temple. Now let's bring out the Whiskey Manhattan. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think about it that way. And who I'm not saying the virus wasn't effective, but you're going to put this in an area to destabilize the area and then you blow it all up?
Yeah, I didn't.
Because they incinerated the town.
Right. And I understood the tactic that he was speaking of, but you're right. After you destabilize the area, then what?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so strength, we're talking about the strengths of the government, but then we have, that goes into the weaknesses of the enemy.
Yes.
More specifically, now we're going to bounce back and forth between these two for a minute before we move on, but so one of the weaknesses of the military would be just that they have to fight in full biological warfare gear. That's a weakness. You don't want to. That's not ideal as a soldier to fight with a full gas mask on.
No.
And all this stuff. It affects your vision and your overall effectiveness as a soldier. So they destabilize an area with this virus, but then they have to send in all soldiers that are in bio gear. Just tactically doesn't seem like a great plan.
Well, and you got to think if it's viral, and I'm assuming it's viral because they're calling it a virus. And let's say you pick it, unless it's an island, and you deposit this in a country. 99.9% of countries, unless they're an island, are connected to something else. So if it's viral, these people get it, and then they give it to these people, they give it to these people, they give it to these people, they give it to these people. It's going to spread, like it is implied at the end of the movie. So you've just created an apocalypse virus, which is why we're talking about this, in my opinion, because you've come up with something to destroy everybody.
Yeah, it would not just be an epidemic, which is a virus or some sort of disease that has an epicenter and basically stays within that. This would be a pandemic that spreads to a much larger geological area. And how do you contain it? How?
Exactly.
I mean, you're talking about BFE, Iowa, and they couldn't contain it.
Well, let's just say that they plan to use it and they're going to set up a containment area. Well, obviously they're no fucking good at it because not only did Raylan and his wife get out, but the three redneck hunters got out of it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
How did they get to the truck stop? Because they were in town.
Yes.
Everything was roadblocked. They're in a big redneck pickup truck.
Everything was road-blocked.
Oh, they probably took their four-wheel drive across the field.
Off-road, they know some back ways.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is the military, and they have satellites and drones and aircraft. They obviously weren't doing a very good job.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they should have been... You'd think they would be able to surveil everything and see vehicles, heat signatures. But again... Again... a backwoods guy who knows his area, and these guys were hunters in that area, would be better than any military person you drop in that's unfamiliar with the area. And that being the key is he's familiar, they're not familiar, or the military's not familiar, they are familiar.
That was one of another one of the weaknesses I had for the military as the secondary enemy is being unfamiliar with the area. The one young soldier that they pull aside and said, they just dropped us in. I didn't even know where we were until I saw a license plate.
And that's another.
So he has no clue about the area. I doubt that a single soldier on the ground there knew the area at all.
Exactly.
So that's definitely a weakness for them.
And another weakness is that the military is made up of people. And I'm not trying to say that the military is bad, but you're taking people who took an oath, signed up to protect the country from foreign and domestic terror, to protect people, and now you're asking them to kill American citizens. Now, some people would do it because they think it's their duty, but some people aren't going to do it.
Right.
And so, when I say weakness, I'm not trying to judge, but I'm saying that you're like, oh, fuck, these people are just infected. Why are we killing them? We're killing these innocent people. Can't we secure them, lock them up? Help them.
Or even the ones that weren't obviously infected, like the trailers full of people that they gunned down.
Right.
What soldiers did they get to do that? What soldiers did they get to just open up,
Because there was a shell
open
casings all
fire,
over the ground.
yeah.
So they pulled out an automatic
then
belt-fed
torch
weapon,
'em.
we'll say, and just and then lit them all on fire with flamethrowers, because they had flamethrowers on that
Yeah,
farm.
yeah.
So, and yes, you will find soldiers who will do that because you can convince them, and maybe rightfully so. It's for you to decide that if the greater good is to kill 1,000 people and save the millions and millions of billions,
instead
of whatever,
of losing the whole country.
instead of losing the whole country. But again, you got to have soldiers willing to do that. Some are, some aren't.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty at this point, plenty of psychological studies that have been done on soldiers fighting in a foreign land, and they're not necessarily we will call it unwillingness and hesitation to shoot enemy soldiers.
Yes.
Other enemy soldiers
Who are shooting back
who are
at them.
shooting at them, and there's they shoot over their head, they shoot over the enemy's head because they want to show, I'm fighting, but they don't have it in them to kill an enemy soldier. And now you're telling me they're going to kill their countrymen, American people, women and children
Who are
in these
not trying to
trailers?
kill them.
I mean, come on. Unlikely. So, anyway. But in the movie, which is the baseline that we use for our examples, they do it. So,
They do it. 90-something% of them do it. The one kid doesn't do it. I don't know if they're going to refer to him as the conscientious objector.
Yeah.
But everyone else is willing to, obviously, because they kill remember they have the one girl with them and her boyfriend and his mom outside the farm. They shoot them and they burn them, and then they come in the barn, and that's when they find the guy who doesn't want to do it. But everybody else seems perfectly fine with it. So,
Yeah.
But I guess you could say you're going to find more people like that. Another weakness is, why does the government have to drive around in black SUVs?
They always drive around black SUVs.
I know, but then everyone knows it's the government. Remember, there's a black
true.
SUV. That's got to be from the government.
Just drive around camouflage SUVs and nobody would see
No
them.
one would see them.
What are those four wheels just rolling down the road? That's
It's
so
weird.
odd.
Is that guy just floating through the air? I can see part of his head, maybe, barely. A weakness of the infected is there's loss of rational thought. They're psychotic, but they're not superhuman. Like, none of them were like impervious to pain. If you had to shoot them, boom, 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 boom. And granted, if you shoot them, they're like normal people for the most part. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have like, I don't want to say like a zombie like where you had to keep shooting, keep shooting.
I think they may have had a little bit of a heightened pain tolerance, but not over the top. Yeah. Yeah, they definitely went down. Like and to support that, the one guy where he splashes oil on him and then lights him on fire. Your traditional no pain zombie would just walk right through that, just keep coming at you while he was on fire. That guy actually screamed and fell down and died, I believe. So yeah,
so he's not
still
just
feel
some
pain.
Feeling less. I mean, he could be a little bit adrenaline or a little numbed, but they appeared to me to be more keyed into noise and movement. You know what I'm saying? Because like when you weren't moving or you weren't doing anything, it seemed like the infected didn't notice them. Because like the perfect example is the principal, I believe he was, when he had the pitchfork and he went into the high school and all the infected were strapped to the gurneys and he was walking through with the pitchfork and he was stabbing the ones that were making noise.
Oh,
Remember?
Yeah.
And then he went to stab the girl because she was crying, the medical assistant.
Right.
And then
but all the other ones that were still, no interest in them.
And then Raylan's wife screamed out to get his attention, and he came over to stab her. And then, Raylan, Raylan, shoots her, or shoots him. And then, everyone's, yay, let's get out of here.
That guy has like 1,072 bodies on him.
Yes,
A lot.
he has a lot. So, I mean, that's, I guess you call weakness. The 40-hour incubation is, I guess, if you could somehow wait, if you just had to deal with the infected, and you could somehow get yourself to a secure location, and you were not with the other infected with the 40-hour incubation period, you wait for everyone to drop dead, you walk out of whatever shelter or bunker you're in, and be like, huh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's messy.
Yeah, that would be messy. But it goes back to
If you're just fighting the infected.
right.
If there was, in this case, obviously we were saying there's two enemies. You have to fight the military. The military's coming after you. They're trying to blah 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 blah. They're trying to kill everybody, maintain the quarantine. But if it was just infected, like if the military, the government, and you don't want that, but if they crumble and it's just the tricksy virus apocalypse, and you can somehow secure yourself someplace, you could technically ride it out if you had nobody in the bunker or your secure location infected.
Right. And that goes back to, you know, our basic, I don't know if you want to call it opinions, education, whatever it is about why we do the show, of telling the people, hey, have this, have this, have this. So if you have your bunker, if you have one, or whatever secure location,
We're bringing it to the people.
What's that?
We're bringing it to the people.
Bringing it to the people. We've said it before. We'll say it this episode, and we'll probably say it every single episode. So get ready to get tired of hearing it. But 72 hours at minimum, 72 hours worth of water, food, medical supplies, and anything else that you need for each person in your group or family. Because in this situation, this actually
Perfect.
fits that standard perfectly. Because if
48
you have
hours.
72 hours worth, and you just stay down there until you deplete your 72 hours, and somebody opens the cellar door and pokes their head out, well, there's a bunch of dead people everywhere, but I don't see any more infected. And if you're hidden well enough, yeah, I don't see any more military either, if in fact they didn't drop a freaking atom bomb.
Right.
But hey, maybe you got a good enough bunker that it'll survive the atom bomb.
And that'll come up in shelter.
Yeah.
But in 72 hours, if that's, say, 3 meals a day for everyone, what if you go to 2 meals a day?
No,
Then
you just extended it.
You've just extended it. You know, there's an extra meal that you can, if, say, there's 3 meals extra, now it's an extra day and a half. Mm-hmm. And you can technically go 3 weeks without food. Now, obviously, you don't want to. I mean, I don't want to. Look at me.
Yeah.
But you
3
could.
hours and I'm grumpy.
Yeah, yeah. 3 hours, I'm hungry and I'm grumpy. So, but that is a weakness because it's not going to be like, I don't pick any zombie movie where 3 weeks later maybe they're rotting or whatever, but they're still shambling around. Like, fuck, the zombies are still here. What the fuck? Fine, I'll go back in the bunker.
Go back down there and starve some
Oh,
more.
I'm so hungry. So I mean, you know, so that is a weakness. It's 2 days and done. Well,
Yeah.
I guess. But I mean, he said 48 hours. But I wonder. Also, another thing I wondered, and obviously, yeah, you know, we can decide. But since it was somewhat diluted in the water supply, obviously it took a while for people to, because I believe they said the plane crashed last week.
Okay.
And when they started the movie, they showed the town burning. And then they said 2 days earlier was when they were at the baseball field and Raylan shot the guy with the shotgun.
Yeah.
So the plane crashed last week.
Talking like 5 days, maybe?
9 days max.
9?
I said between 5 and 9, I think is a pretty good guesstimate.
But that's for going into the water supply,
Yes.
and then a full cycle from introduction to water supply, going through, getting to the wells, and then to the point of the infected are supposed to be dying off.
The drunk infected guy that they shot on the baseball, that Raylan killed on the baseball field, they said was closest to the water. So it's obviously trickling down the line out of the plane. So
yeah, following the watershed.
So I also wonder if the 48-hour burn-off period, we'll say, for then you've got it and you're dead, is that affected? Is that extended 72 hours a week? Could the infected, you know, survive longer? Because you got the guy that was crazy that burned down the house with his wife and kid in it.
Yeah.
And then he ended up dead in the cell because the virus killed him. But I can't remember. You know what? I should have paid closer attention. I don't know when the wife said that he's been acting weird for a couple days now or something like that.
Well, okay, so the time period, no, we can figure this out. The time period that we're looking at in the movie is 2 days. Because it goes back, because like you said, they show the town burning, and then they say 2 days
earlier, and Raylan kills the guy.
That was before any of the events had taken place. They show his wife is at her doctor's office.
Yes.
The young girl is giving her an excuse to leave, but she knows that she wants to go to the ball game.
Yes.
So that is like the starting point for this particular scenario. She doesn't see that guy until what?
Was it the day that he killed?
That day?
Or was it the next day
It had
or
to
something?
be the next day. Right?
But anyway, so you're talking
So, a couple
an extended contamination period. So possibly a somewhat extended die-off period.
Yeah.
So he says 48 hours, but again, 72 hours of food stretched out to 2 meals a day. You're being playing a little safe. And you could technically peek your head out of wherever you're at, look around, and see if there's still some infected people running around. But the problem with these, unlike zombies, is they can use guns. So you poke your head out, and they could take a pot shot at you.
Yeah.
And the government definitely has guns.
Yeah,
They're definitely
that
take a pot
is
shot
big
at you.
difference. You're not dealing with infected that are to the point of they have their facilities. Faculties.
Faculties.
I used that wrong. They have their faculties. They can still function. They still have dexterity.
And they still may
have
use the facilities.
Well, yeah.
They're not animals.
Maybe. Do they? I don't know.
If an infected shits in the woods, can someone hear it? Oh, it's a tree. Never mind.
You just put a lot of things together
That's
into
a
one
tree,
saying.
and never mind.
So yeah, that definitely makes that. I guess that would be a strength. The fact that they can still function, they have dexterity. Yes. I mean, even the three hunters, you could tell they were very far gone at the end there. At the time of their demise, they were very infected. They were probably only hours away from like internally exploding and dying anyway.
Because you could tell in their face.
Yeah,
and
the veins are all popping out. Their eyes they were very far gone, but they were still functioning. So far as the big guy was able to have hand-to-hand combat.
Yes, and he pulled a pistol at the end. He went to pull a pistol to shoot because Raylan takes the oil tray on the rollers, and he rolls it at him and it hits him and he gets covered with oil, and then you see the guy pull the gun out like he was going to shoot Raylan. That's when Raylan lit the lighter and threw it down, and then it caught him on fire, and you see him. And before that, if you remember, one of the other hunters had an M4, one of the military M4s, and unloaded a clip. Or, he shot at his wife, Raylan's wife.
4 or 5 rounds in a pretty decent group right in the door of that semi. I mean, that shows you right there. He still has dexterity to the point of accurately shooting an AR-style weapon.
He's still able to deploy a weapon it's not like he was just spraying it all over the place and when he shot the glass, he was able to aim it and shoot at someone. So even though you're crazy, you don't lose your abilities, all your abilities.
But there's a little bit of contradiction in all of that, because you have some of them who have these pretty deep bouts of confusion as to what's going on, especially the first two, the hunter in the field with the shotgun at the baseball field, very confused. As a matter of fact, he even at one point looks down at the shotgun in his hand and like he didn't even realize he was carrying it, and then, oh, that's right, I have this shotgun. And then that's when he levels it. And then you have the guy in the house who, when he goes to the doctor's office to be checked out, he's out of it. He keeps repeating himself. But then you have these hunters who are, they're extremely aware.
The hunters, and if you remember, when they made it back to the farm, or when Raylan and his wife and his deputy and the nurse make it back to the house, the drunk guy or the hunter, the guy that got killed at the baseball field, his wife, or his widow, because Raylan blew him away, and her son were there, and because they were rational enough to want revenge
and to know where to go,
exact it. So I just wonder if it's different in everybody. Like it's the same. Makes you crazy. Makes you want to kill people. Makes you wackadoodle. But and obviously everyone tried to kill somebody that was infected, or they lost at the point where they possibly could have killed somebody. But they still made some, I guess, more than others. But I guess it's kind of like you could say it's like drinking. Some people when they get drunk are able to do things a little better than others. Well,
Yeah.
they get mean.
And exactly.
They're able to coordinate a little more.
They
maybe
level out.
Maybe I don't know if you get it, but you're infected. But like the level that you had it, like of course, the wife and the kid, they were right there by the source, just like the old man who Raylan put in the ground.
Yeah, so at that point,
So they should have been, unless they were drinking less water. Maybe she loves Coke. Maybe she downs 24-pack of Coke every day.
Yeah.
And she only got water through
just drinks
showering. Or maybe she drinks beer. She seemed like a hearty gal.
Yeah.
Maybe she likes all those hops. She needs all those carbs.
So, I think the varying degrees is a good point and probably true because it seems that you have varying degrees in each person that was infected. Well, that'll come up in shelter with what we were just talking about.
I mean,
Right.
so I think that's pretty good. Strengths and weaknesses. That's kind of about all I got. I mean,
yeah,
it seems like they eventually stopped talking. Like at the end, none of the infected were talking, so I guess you kind of lose. But they were still able, again, like you said, engage in hand-to-hand combat with Raylan Gibbons.
Yeah.
And shooting at people and
and the one guy who was looking for her when she was in the meat locker full of dead bodies. See, now he was a little bit more on the confused side. He kind of looks around and then he walks down the hall dragging his knife on the wall, just seemingly like aimlessly walking and La La Land, But then the other two are very focused. I don't know.
But I mean, he could, there's three of them. Maybe they're like the Three Stooges, and he was Larry. He was the middle one. He was just less focused than Moe and Curly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe he was a little less focused. Maybe that's all it is.
Yeah.
So, I guess we can come back, but your survival basics: air, water, food, shelter.
Yeah.
I guess we start with air. This one, it's a virus. You get it through the water, but the Army was wearing gas masks and hazmat suits at the high school. It did not appear to be airborne, but everyone who, the military, the government guy in the SUV, if you remember when Deputy Dog, that's what I'm going to start calling him, Deputy Dog was searching the SUV when he found the pistol.
Yeah.
There was a gas mask hanging off one of the seats.
Yeah. So
and he knows what it is. He knew
Right.
exactly what it is.
He's not doing it as just some extra precaution. He obviously knew for a reason to have that gas mask.
I mean, he worked for the military. Maybe black SUVs from the military come equipped with gas masks on the headrest. Where you could
Probably.
grab it. Who knows? I've never been in one. Maybe we keep doing this. Maybe we'll end up in one. They're like,
Probably.
why do you know so much?
We're gonna get
I
snatched.
swear, we're just making it up.
One of these days, we're going to emerge from the bunker and we're both going to get snatched and thrown into our own
But, so
SUV.
why does he have a gas mask? Why are the soldiers in gas masks?
And the wife mentions at some point, she says something about, I don't exactly remember the phrasing, but she says that since the military's involved, it must be now airborne.
Yes.
So I don't know if she knows
She's
that
a
for
doctor.
sure, but
She is a doctor.
yeah, and she surmises.
So she obviously has some idea about viruses and
Right.
And because when he says it's whatever he called it, rabda, whatever, and she's like, it's a virus. So she obviously, as she should. She's a doctor.
Yeah.
Very smart lady, very educated, very familiar with viruses and
Very
all that kind of
attractive.
stuff. Very. But so I guess we could say it's not airborne, but it possibly could be.
Right.
A normal gas mask appeared to be enough. The only thing I would say with that is if you've never worn a gas mask and tried to run around and do shit in them, it is not.
Practice.
One, it's harder to breathe, whether you believe it or not. Your breathing is more labored. And two, it's harder to see.
You can't see shit.
Your peripheral vision is next to nothing.
Right.
You basically see out of two little fucking Coke bottles in front of you.
Yeah, and they fog up.
And they fog up.
constantly.
Yeah, depending. Yes, they fog
And
up.
it's not like You could just pull the thing off and clean them out. You could, but you're not gonna. If you're wearing it, you're probably not in the situation where you want to just pull it off and clean out the lenses and go back to business. You just deal with it.
Yeah,
it sucks.
I mean, and they had I mean, now they do have some type of style of gas mask that we would recommend in this situation. They're like almost a full face shield.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Of glass, or not glass, but plastic.
Yeah.
So it's a little more peripheral vision, but not great.
Yeah, still gas masks still suck. That's why I consider that a weakness for the military to have to fight in those.
It is. So I guess your air is potentially contaminated.
Yeah. So water, well,
obviously contaminated.
Obviously contaminated.
Here, air, water is contaminated. Bottled water would be okay.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this is, I guess, straying a little bit, but what if they had a water bottling plant there, and they were taking the water and purifying it, putting in bottles and selling it? It didn't look like they did. That'd be extra bad, because now you've just distributed a virus
to the rest of
the country. Another thing, and obviously they blew up the town, so it shouldn't be a problem. But when Raylan was talking to the mayor about turning off the water because he was concerned, the mayor said it's planting season. If you turn off the water, everyone's crops will die. The town will die.
Yeah.
Let's say hypothetically, they watered. Maybe if they didn't blow up the town, if that got in the food, would it be carried into the food? And
then you're shipping corn and beans to everywhere to be put into food.
Wheat, corn, potatoes, whatever they're growing there in Iowa.
There's another vehicle to spread it to the country.
Yes.
Which takes me back to, they say they have a containment for this. How? How can you possibly contain? There's too many factors. There's just too many variables to this.
You want to know how
to be able to contain it.
Jumping at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
You see the satellite pick up, which apparently they can only pick up every so often because they couldn't pick up on the hunters escaping.
Yeah.
They couldn't pick up on, but when Raylan and his wife.
It's focused on Raylan. That's why. Their satellites
it is Raylan Gibbons.
Only home in on him.
It is Raylan Gibbons. I would focus on him
they've
too.
probably already been keeping an eye on him, and that's why they have the satellites trained on him.
But I mean, as they're walking to, what was it, Cedar Rapids?
Yeah, it was Cedar something.
Anyway, they're walking to the next town. I believe it said population 128,000. Start containment, which they're obviously shitty at, but they're start containment protocols. And then if you keep watching, it shows the newscaster, and he's like, reports of the town. I wrote down, was it Ogden Marsh, some explosion. And then you see like a crazy person on the TV, like to indicate that it spread.
Yeah.
To Cedar Rapids. We'll say it's Cedar Rapids because that just makes it easier.
I think it is.
I think I know how it got there. I think Raylan brought it. And here's why. I'm going to blow your mind out there. When Raylan and his wife are in their house and the crazy widow and her son, she stabs him in the hand with a knife.
Yes, I see where you're going.
He then pulls his hand up and stabs her in the throat to kill her, which a boss move.
Oh yeah.
But
huge balls.
What did you just do? You have an open wound.
And just dumped
bleeding,
her blood right in it.
And you dumped her infected blood inside you. And if that is a true virus, he just got infected. And 48 hours later, he's a goner.
That's a good call.
So as much as he's our hero, he's kind of not, because he gave it to Cedar Rapids.
Whoops. Yeah.
That's just, or maybe it's airborne. Maybe we'll say Raylan. We want to keep Raylan pure. Raylan's our good guy.
Yeah. Do not.
It's airborne.
Do not taint Raylan.
Maybe. I mean, technically he could be immune. I mean, every virus out there, even if it affects 99.9% of the population,
there's always a
small percentage
that just absolutely
it doesn't affect, or they get it and somehow their body fights it, makes a mutation, and they survive. They might get sick or whatever, but their body.
Right. There's always going to be a small percentage that are either just carriers or just simply do not get the virus.
Yes, they may carry it, and they're able to infect other people maybe with their fluids, but it doesn't affect them. I mean,
Right.
that's a you can look it up. That's medical. That's medical shit. You can look it up.
It's science.
It's
fucking science.
fucking science. But we were talking about water being contaminated. Here's my thing though. Your normal survival is boil water, have a water filter, straw for life. If you're not familiar with it, it's a straw that it's a great thing to have if you want. You can pack it in a bag. It's like a thick straw, and thick as your thumb, maybe twice as long. I guess putting it in your thumb, and you stick it in dirty water, and you could drink, and it's supposed to be filtered. But it filters out impurities and like E. coli and gonorrhea, whatever the fuck you get out of the water. I don't know if it's gonna filter this shit out. You know what I mean? I don't know if I want to boil this water and call it safe.
Yeah, that's a good point. What does make this safe? I mean, let's say that you survive this for an extended period, and of course we have to remove the dropping of the bomb for that to even be possible. But let's just say that doesn't happen, and you do survive this for a while. You have to start reintegrating and know how to get on Life Straw, those UV pens that you can put in the water.
Iodine tablets, I forgot about those.
Oh, there you go. Iodine tablets, filters, boiling. What works for this? I think boiling is supposed to kill anything. I think. I'm not now. I cannot claim to.
They say it does, but I'm not a water purification expert.
Neither am I, and that's something that I should really look up and know for sure.
I'm not Bear
for the
Grylls.
next show. Yeah, I'm not, and I'm not.
Les Stroud.
Les Stroud. I'm
there
sorry.
You go.
That's
right.
I gotta forget that. That's my guy. He's the man. Yeah, but as far as what I do know is that boiling for at least a certain amount of time is supposed to kill everything.
But this is a biological weapon engineered.
Yeah, an engineered
by
weapon.
The greatest government of the greatest country in the world.
So they could.
Don't get pissed off other countries, but it's true.
I seriously doubt any other countries listening to our dumbasses, but
I doubt any country listening to our dumbasses.
Probably not even our own. But anyway,
but the point is that they've come up with a biological weapon. I mean, I wonder, like mustard gas and that stuff that was used in World War I and trench warfare. Could you boil that out? I don't know.
Ooh, good question. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's just way
bottled
too
water.
Interesting.
So,
what can you boil out of water?
I would say bottled water is your best resource.
Yeah,
so again, anything you've stocked up, that you've obviously hopefully set aside, and you're not taking out of the tap, but like prepackaged bottled water that you have set aside, I would go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, you fucked.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. I mean, I guess if you got to the point where it's either drink the boiled water or die of dehydration, I guess you could roll the dice. But I think I'd go through all the bottled water first.
Now,
if you're talking long term, like this thing is out there,
right? And if it is long term, let's look at let's look at the scenario of where they were living specifically. Okay, so they live on a farm, and I'm going to assume that the farm is mostly self-sufficient, even though they probably run off of the power grid.
Right.
He probably has a generator where he can go off the grid if needed. So,
well,
he's on a well. We already know that.
No, he's not on a well because the water goes through the town. And he said they're at the end of the line as far as the water.
Oh,
so if everyone was
a water tower, you're right. I was assuming there was wells, and it was just going through the watershed. Huh?
Well, because they were saying that
I guess that farmland usually are on well because you can't push water out that far.
I agree, but then maybe the scenario doesn't hold as much water then because. How else? Because they turned off the water in town. So how does that turn off water to everybody if they're all on wells? It doesn't.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a little contradiction there. But I'm just
okay. We'll assume
I'm going to assume that Raylan is on a well because he's pretty far out there,
and it's going through the watershed,
farm, and it's just coming through the watershed, which is why it's hitting the houses.
Which makes more sense, and it would still do that.
Yeah.
But then his point of turning off the water was pointless.
Maybe that's just a red herring. I don't know. Or maybe that's just for the town. Who knows? But
he could, because the town's going to get its water too for the people that live in the town.
Yeah,
and the businesses and stuff like that. So maybe he's doing that.
Maybe that just.
But then again, he's not saving anybody who's on a well.
Right. Yeah. So, for sustainability, he would have a well, possibly like a generator, propane, he could turn on his tap. Water comes out of the well. Yes, I know it's infected. It's coming out of the well. But now I'm going to walk over, put it on the stove. Boil pots and pots of water, and you could actually get on and be fine. If, in fact, boiling kills the virus.
Yes.
So we're back to that. But anyway, that was just spitballing that
So
for the long-term survival. Food.
prepackaged would be good.
Yeah, in this case, your gardening is probably not a good idea.
No, because you've like we kind of hit on earlier with the crops, you've just sprayed this water on your vegetables or whatever you're growing. Or if you say you have livestock and you slaughter it to eat, like a cow or whatever, pig, and you've been giving it this water. You know what I mean?
Now you've got infected animals.
Yes.
They don't even go into animals.
They don't go into animals.
I wonder if, because there are a lot of viruses that do not cross species.
Exactly.
So
Mad cow disease does not translate to people.
right, they don't touch on that. So I wonder. I wonder if it just doesn't affect animals.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
But even if, okay, let's say it doesn't, but they're still drinking the water, therefore that water is still in their bloodstream and you slaughter it, can it still be a vehicle to give it to a human?
It could be.
I think it could be.
It could be. So you can't trust your animals. So prepackaged, obviously nothing that requires water to reconstitute it.
Yeah.
Like dehydrated foods that you add water to bring back up. You don't want to do that.
Shit, I have a lot of that. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Well, MREs would be the best, especially if we're going by this one because they were on the move.
Yeah.
So something you could throw in a bag and take with you, yada yada yada.
Yeah. Or if you can get bottled water, I mean, and then you could use your dehydrated
You
food.
could, but then you're using your. You could
Drinking
but
water,
you're using
which
your
is
drinking
very
water,
valuable.
which is very valuable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, this is not nearly as funny
No,
of an apocalypse as that
the aliens were funnier.
way funnier
I'm not sure.
styrofoam aliens that are allergic to water. That's so much funny. This is like once you watch it and you start talking about it, you're like, holy shit, this is okay. Now we're getting into real fucking apocalypse right
Yes,
here.
this is a real one.
Yeah,
Yeah, no styrofoam aliens in this one.
with wrist sticks.
Again, that's the apocalypse I want.
Oh,
I mean,
for
think about how
sure.
easy that one was.
Oh man,
If you listen to it.
now this is the real deal here. Okay, so food, yeah,
Shelter. Sheltering in place in this one is very questionable. I mean, I guess if you have a legit bunker, a military grade below the ground, bomb proof
yeah,
bunker,
straight up bomb shelter from
Straight
World
up.
War II.
or straight up, like you could buy decommissioned missile silos,
Yeah,
and you can turn those into a bunker.
you can.
Yeah, you
I
can.
want one.
I know. We all want one. If you have one of those, you're safe.
I think you're good.
But other than that,
Yeah,
and this doesn't fall under shelter, well, I guess this would be miscellaneous. But I'll get to that. But I mean, unless you have a bunker, you need to be on the move because the military's looking for you. Because they went to the houses and they grabbed Raylan and his wife, and then as they were trying to get back to their house, the military pulled up and grabbed the nurse's boyfriend and his mom and killed them. So they're checking houses. They're looking
Yeah.
for people.
yeah, they're going house to house. However, they only did one wave. So if you could stay hidden sufficiently enough for them not to find you when they come through on the first one, it didn't seem like they were coming back around.
No, but the reason was, and this is why shelter's bad in this one, sheltering in, I think, is they dropped the bomb.
Oh yeah.
Now-
you don't want to stay in your house for that.
Even if it wasn't, I don't think it was nuclear.
No,
Because they're going to, but
couldn't
it
be.
was like
fallout.
napalm, basically. Napalm on steroids, because it burned everything up.
That would make sense because they
Right.
wanted to burn out the virus.
Yes.
That would make sense.
Because they burnt the bodies.
Yeah. So that definitely fucks up your shelter.
Yes.
That's not a sunrise, people.
No. So sheltering in place is no bueno.
Nah.
Not in this one.
So you want to be on the move. But, I mean, yes, obviously you want to be on the move to get outside of the blast radius. The problem is no one knew that was going to happen, except for the military.
Right. I think that's why they didn't do wave after wave of checking for people. They just kind of swept through, got as many as they could, set up a shitty perimeter, and then just bombed it. And just said, whatever we didn't catch, we'll catch with the bomb. That's what I think. So sheltering,
It's pretty much, yeah.
sheltering.
Exactly what happened.
I'd say is bad in this case. It's not. It's not going to be hiding in the basement with a couple, with the pitchfork underneath the door handle. Fucking stupid aliens. And just sitting there waiting until the baby monitor says they're gone. I mean, you can't. You're gonna actually move. Go do something.
Until the baby monitor says they're gone. That's great.
I mean, I guess
What's your alert system for this situation?
A baby monitor. Fuck you, M. Night Shyamalan. So shelter. That's unless you got the ultra bunker,
Yeah.
the deluxe military grade survival nuclear strike bunker.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust it. Weapons.
One real quick on shelter.
Yeah.
Even beyond that with the bomb, the fucking mom and the kid show up to their house to exact revenge. Obviously, your shelter's no good because they still can function. So they had enough wherewithal to say, "That's his house. We're gonna
Yeah.
open
There's
doors.
his house.
They have opposable thumbs and know how to fucking use them, unlike styrofoam aliens."
Yeah.
Yeah, so shelter's even questionable for the townspeople who are infected. It's no good. I mean, anyway, so let's go on to what we all...
Weapons.
Guns.
Guns.
Guns are back. Guns are back.
Guns are good. Because in this case, obviously, you want to shoot them motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to just run around shooting them all because, well, I mean, I guess you could run around shooting all the infected, but one, they can shoot back, and two, how do you know? You just, you're psycho and just shooting everybody?
Yeah. Or did I just watch you shoot those two people because you're not infected and you think they are? Or are you infected and they weren't? What side are you on?
And the infected don't know they're infected.
True.
Like Deputy Dog, he doesn't realize until he gets punched out that he's infected.
Yeah.
So you're rational. You think you're rational even though you're not.
And then you have to get close enough to see, are you infected?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, pistols, shotgun, rifle, pick
Knives.
your poison. Knives, pick your poison.
Probably don't want to get that close, but it would work.
It would work. It's effective.
Basically, any soft target weapon
Yes.
is good for this.
Yes.
Because, I mean, we're dealing with humans.
Yes.
You're dealing with meat bags walking around, so...
You're not dealing with styrofoam aliens. No. You're not going to cut fingers off with the knife easily. You're not going to piss on them and make them dissolve and run away.
Not that easy.
You're going to have to fight.
Yeah.
Guns, knives, whatever. You have to fight. A thing that, if you have a sling or holster for your weapons, I mean, a lot of the times Deputy Dog, when he had a shotgun, didn't have a sling. Raylan, when he got his revolver, they stuck it in the back of his pants.
Yeah.
Or front of his pants. He didn't have a holster.
Yeah.
Which brings me to a debate or an idea, a cache. And if you don't know what a cache is, when you take supplies, weapons, whatever, and you hide them. So that way they're hidden from looters, or in this case the government coming through and trying to take all your shit. So you would have something that you could get.
Yeah. You leave certain ones out for them to find.
Well, that you can grab easily and use.
Yeah, so that you can grab easily and use. And if they find those and take them, okay, that sucks. But they think they got my stash, but they really didn't.
Well, here's my argument. I think the military did a shitty job. Not, of course, with containment, but also with looking for weapons. Now, they go to the police department, and they cleaned out the weapons locker. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, there's guns there. But then what does Raylan do? He runs to his desk. He pulls out a lockbox.
Yeah.
And he pulls out his revolver, an old revolver. He loads it up.
Couldn't even find that. That's bang-up job, military.
And when they went to their house, it did not look ransacked.
True. It wasn't.
It was not ransacked.
Yeah,
They're not checking drawers. They're not searching closets. if you got a big safe or a big cabinet right there and that says guns, they're probably going to take them. But if you got a shotgun hidden in the back of your closet,
They're not spending the time to.
they're
go
not spending
looking
the
for it.
time.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who prep or like they think they want to cache that they bury someplace. Like they get some GPS coordinates and they walk, 30 paces this way, and then they bury it into the ground by 5 feet
Don't make it so hard on
in
yourself.
an airproof container where nothing's going to rust, and you put plastic bags, and you oil up the gut. Okay, how long? I'm going to be serious. How long do you think it takes to bury that? Now, that's how long it takes to dig it up.
Dig it back
So
up.
now you're sitting there in the middle of the fucking woods with a shovel, digging up, a couple rifles and some pistols, whatever you got in there, hoping the government or the infected doesn't come by,
Yeah.
and you're digging away. 30 more minutes and I'm going to be fucking them up. I just need 30 more fucking minutes and I'm going to be fucking them up.
So don't be Blackbeard,
Yes, don't bury your treasure.
the fucking pirate.
You could
Make it
almost,
easy on
even
yourself.
if they were going to search the houses, you could go as easy as a false panel in the back of a closet. Maybe if you have a spot, you can, put it in between floorboards, something like that. But don't put everything in one spot, I guess.
Yeah.
In this case,
Yeah.
a cache.
Have some hidden gems so that you're still up and running.
So, but I mean, now here's miscellaneous flashlights.
Oh,
Most of the time they're running around at night.
yeah.
Nobody had a flashlight. It was nice of them to have all the production lighting around so they could see, but you're not going to have the production lighting around.
Right. They're walking through that cornfield coming up to the one farm, and it, of course, because of the production lighting, you can see their faces and everything. Absolute pitch fucking black in reality. I don't know.
In the middle
I
of
don't
a
know
cornfield.
If you've ever been in the middle of a cornfield at night out in the country, especially if it's not a full moon, but people, it's pitch fucking
There's
black.
no street lights.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you don't want to turn a flashlight on and walk around, because then you look at those fucking aliens in the sky with their, hey, I'm over here. Here's my ship. No. But at least you have something that when you're searching something or you're coming up to something, or maybe you see somebody. You're walking and there's enough moonlight out, or you can see shapes and it looks like a person. Do you just want to fuck, it must be infected. Pow, pow, pow. Or go crack them. You should at least identify them with a flashlight.
Yeah.
And the rule with flashlights is what? 2 is 1, 1 is none.
Yep.
So it's best to have 2 flashlights.
Yeah. 'Cause
And,
one will fail.
One will more likely fail. And in this case, if you want to give one to your hot wife, you know what I mean? There's a flashlight.
Yep.
Here, babe. There you go.
Yep.
And I guess you could even, if it's a Maglite style flashlight, it would double as a club in a pinch.
Yeah.
Like, granted, your bulb might, but an LED bulb, they won't break like an old bulb.
Yeah. May or may not have used that once or twice.
Maybe. You never know.
Never know.
Weapon lights,
Weapon lights are always good
they're always good.
because they're dual purpose. I mean, you can always take it off and just use it as a regular flashlight if needed.
Yes.
And not only that, but the way that they're modular these days, they're set up with most weapons. You can go weapon to weapon to weapon with it. Let's say you have a little weapon light attached to your AR weapon, and then you run out of ammo and magazines on that, and you find it intelligent to ditch it, which I don't know if I'd ever ditch an AR. The magazines and ammunition is way too readily available, but let's say you did, or whatever. Let's say you just sling it, but then you want to go to your pistol now. Take that light, slap it right on your pistol. Most pistols these days are compatible. We'll take
They have a
weapon
rail
light.
system. You can put it on.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings me to a big point: physical fitness. Because
What's that?
exactly. Because in this movie they do a fuck ton of walking.
Yeah, marathon.
Think Raylan escapes from the truck stop. He gets back to town. I think he hitched a ride on a government truck, on a military truck.
Okay.
He then gets his pistol that the military didn't even look for because they're pathetic at their job.
Yeah.
This is not knocking the U.S. military, greatest military in the world, but these guys
Well.
sucked at their job.
Well, their function really is not to
search for everything.
Be like, they're not the police. They don't search like
Fair
search
enough,
warrants.
fair enough.
Yeah.
He gets his pistol, and then Deputy Dog shows up. And then they go walking to the high school. Maybe running, because they want to get there to save the hot wife.
Yeah.
So they have to walk there. And then they leave the high school, walk back to town, where they find all the cars are booted except for the hunter's vehicle when they're killing people. They then have to walk to Raylan's house because he's got the old cop car. And they state that it's 7 miles away.
Ooh.
Unless they cut through some fields, and it's 5 miles. 5 miles. That's a long walk.
Yeah. I mean, we could definitely do it, but
Well, we could,
for
but I'm
everybody
saying,
out there, make sure you can
listen,
do it.
if all you're doing is listen to this on your computer with your Cheeto fingers, you might want to get out and do some walking if you want to survive.
Yeah.
And
Good point.
let's put it this way. You go out there in shorts and a T-shirt or whatever the weather is, and you go for a walk, and you walk 4 miles, something like that. Good. But then you put a pistol on, you grab a long gun, you grab a backpack, maybe with some water and some food. I know those movies don't like to show it because it's inconvenient. You got to take that shit with you somehow. And if you're walking, that shit adds up. That's weight.
Oh, man. And I'm here to tell you, if you haven't done it, throw a backpack on or a rucksack and go walking around. Within about 5 minutes, you'll realize, shit, this is hard. This sucks. Now just apply that to weapons, and if you're going to take food, if you're going to take water, we talked about it before. Water's the heaviest stuff you can carry. Ounces make pounds.
And in this case, go back to water, like that live straw. You can't. I wouldn't trust it. If you're just going to drink water that you find, but you're going to use that filtration straw, I mean, that's up to you. It's your life. But I wouldn't trust it. That little...
Not just that. No. I agree.
I think I'd go bottled water.
Oh, yeah. If
in this situation,
possible, definitely go bottled
nothing
water.
but bottled water.
Yeah. So, if you were going to stand on your life straw, I would go boil, then life straw. Kind of give you a 2-stage.
I say you just go suck a dick. I mean, you're a little safer with that than you're sucking a life straw. And I'm not knocking life straw. It's a great thing. But in this case, you're talking biological weapon. I think you fucked.
Yeah, because you're right. They probably did engineer it to be impervious to boiling. If you can do that.
This isn't like some mad cow disease that spread to people. You know what I mean? Like that's, it's a mutation. And no, this was a biological weapon created by the greatest military in the world. Or people working for the greatest military in the world.
Yeah, it's definitely legit.
It was designed for this kind of shit.
Which is why this one's not nearly as funny, because holy shit, it is a legit weapon.
It is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and obviously they couldn't contain it in a small town, and now it's moved on to a bigger town, Cedar Rapids. It's going to go everywhere.
Oh, man. Because now, the Ogden Marsh was, 2,000 people? And they couldn't contain that. If it hit Cedar Rapids, just imagine that.
I think it said 128,000.
Yeah.
So
it's a small city. There's people coming in and out of there all the time. It is going to travel. It is going to spread. There's no way to stop it from a city that size.
It's going to get out. Because if they can't contain 2,000 people, they're not going to contain 128,000 people. It's going to get out. Yeah. And let's say Raylan didn't spread it. You can't stop Raylan. He's going to at least get out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what else we got? The miscellaneous other. Oh, you already touched on gas masks.
Gas masks, yeah.
But in this situation, would paper masks work? Like the fucking Chinese walking around all the time wearing paper masks just to keep from getting sick. Would paper masks work? I mean, it's an airborne virus that typically that's what doctors use.
I think if you took the paper mask and you either got one that's in black or you painted it black, I think it would work only because you would then look like a ninja.
Absolutely.
And it would know to leave you the fuck alone.
That's a fucking ninja.
That's
Even
a
the
ninja.
Trixie virus knows.
That's a ninja.
That's a fucking ninja.
And then when you run around hiding from the crazies, you look like a ninja.
They won't even. Nobody will bother.
Who doesn't want to look like a ninja?
That's it. You just found the key right there. Just get a black mask.
Be a ninja.
And be a ninja. And you're
Be a
good.
ninja.
Nobody fucks with ninjas.
Nobody wants to fuck with a ninja. Be a ninja.
Be a ninja when you grow up.
Yes.
All right. Well,
I mean, that's it. About wraps it up, I think.
I think we covered all the categories and touched on it. So, point of this apocalypse, people, is you're fucked.
You're fucked.
Yeah, this is not fun. This one, your biggest complaints are not going to be hipsters and Brits.
No.
This one is straight up.
This is you're fucked.
You're fucked.
They can't all be funny.
No.
I would like them to be, but they can't all be. You're here to survive, though.
Yeah.
I guess my biggest tip is don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put all your weapons in one spot. I mean, I'm not saying like just wrap them and hide them someplace where the little kiddies can find them, but maybe, some type of locked case somewhere, a spare rifle and pistol, a little bit of ammo, set it off to the side.
The hidden panel, I love
hidden
that.
panel, if you can do that,
That doesn't take that much. Get on the internet.
Ideally, maybe like a bookcase with a hidden room
with the little-
behind.
with the
No,
little-
with a hidden room behind. You
Yeah,
pull the book
pull the
down
book
like
out.
Scooby Doo. Come on.
I always wanted one of those.
I always did too. Everybody wants one. Come on, be honest.
Yeah.
So I guess the pro tip of this podcast is a cachet.
Yes.
Put a little shit away where people can't find it, and that also works if looters, people break in looking for your shit.
True.
Because the crazy widow of the dearly departed that Raylan blew away, and the son. Mm-hmm. What if they would have gone in the house and they would have found some guns? The military didn't take them. There was a shotgun laying there.
Yeah, it would have been a knife. The knife would have been the least of his worries if she would have found a shotgun. And
She could have blown them all away.
Yep.
Blown them all away. Yeah. So obviously, ideally, you want to have something hidden away.
Good call. I like it. Cachet.
Cachet.
Bunker, supplies, and cachet.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
What do
Well,
you say?
Yeah. I guess next week the letter
this one.
C.
Letter C.
Alphabetical order. That's how we do it.
Or we just wait. Do we know what the category is, or I don't know if we. I think we just touch on that the week of. Yeah.
I mean,
We just know it's letter C.
the letter C.
I don't even know what it is. At this
Next
point.
will be the letter C. So we should have this out this week, and then next week we'll get you the letter C. But until then, I'm Drew.
I'm Frank.
And enjoy the apocalypse.
Enjoy.